These are the Brum Tech Scene interviews. I'm Stuart Langridge and I'm talking to Dan Rice, who is co-founder of Hobzy here in the Custard Factory in Birmingham. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Stu.
So, well, first question, what's Hobzy?
So Hobzy, we're a startup and we build web and mobile apps for the craft industry. So if you like knitting, you like sewing, crochet, anything that's handmade, we probably have an app that you'd be interested in.
Right, I mean your flagship product is handmade.me, right?
Yes. So that's our marketplace where you as a non-craft person, the original idea was you could come on and say, I would like a jumper that's green with Stuart on the back and number 1 on the front. We would then have this network of crafters that could come and say, I'll make that for £30. This was the general idea, and it didn't work because nobody was coming and requesting anything, even though the general idea when we put it out there was, I would love that. I would love to be able to request something that was handmade, authentic, blah, blah. So we sort of switched it up a bit, and we got the makers to come and say, I can make this product, you can customize X, Y, and Z. And as soon as we switched it up to be like that, then it started to work.
Right, so the initial idea of completely custom stuff, do you still do that?
We don't. We've removed that feature because it was there and it wasn't doing anything. But long term, that's exactly what we want to do. And we think that by seeding it with ideas, with the makers saying, I can make this, that will then give people the idea of, I would like that, but I'd also like this with a bit of that in it, or whatever it is. So you've got to go after two different sets of people, right? You need makers to offer the things that they make and people to come and buy it. Exactly.
What's the approach here? How do you get the word out?
So from a maker's point of view, we've got 2 full-time community people in the office that are basically reaching out to these people. They're crafters themselves, so they know that market. We've then got some interns in that come and help us basically scour Etsy, who are probably our biggest competitor in the same market, and they literally just scour Etsy looking for high quality products that are customizable in some way, and they'll then go and hunt those people down, try and find an email address and say, come and sell with us.
I wasn't going to mention the E, but they're obviously the 500 kilo gorilla in the particular market.
Exactly.
What are Hobzy doing that's different to Etsy? Apart from being here in the UK and in Birmingham, which
from a buyer's point of view, we're focused on the customization of products. So we're really in an area where you want to buy a gift, but we want to give you an input into that gift. Etsy, yes, they focus on handmade, but they also focus on vintage, and they've really relaxed their policy of what being handmade actually means more recently. So you can sell stuff on Etsy that's made in a factory if you designed it yourself, and
right, okay.
We want to take that back and say we are authentic, we're handmade, and we're customizable.
You do get the impression that any definition of handmade, which would include an iPhone 6, probably ought not to count.
Exactly. And so the way we find makers is you can't just come and sell with us. We have to vet you first. So you go through a verification process, and we check that you are who you say you are. You do make handmade stuff. You can upload any products, but we curate everything. So if you did upload loads of tat, basically it wouldn't be part of the public part of the site. So we want to keep that quality level really high.
You're hand manually vetting every offered product?
At the minute, yeah.
Isn't that, I mean, that's brilliant, and it really makes sure that the Hobzy the handmade.me is really well curated and you've got this high level of quality. But if next week you become Etsy into $1 billion in turnover, you're going to need a bigger office than the one we're sitting in.
Good problems to have, right? I mean, yeah. So half of the process is automated. So we take you through a 5-step for the seller. We take them through a 5-step verification process that is all automated. So we send text to you to prove that your phone's in the UK. But we do some stuff that we can try and work out. But yeah, the actual listing curation is something that just has to be done manually at the minute. Like we've tried to automate it by going, is a description longer than 2 lines? What res is the image? What, that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, we can't do that to an accuracy that we need.
There's a bunch of automatable stuff, the sort of stuff you've described, how they're providing decent pictures, but knowing what it's a decent picture of is, I mean that's not a company, that's a research project.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing we have is that because we have this stipulation of you have to offer at least one custom option. That's quite an interesting concept for some people to grasp. So if they've sold on Etsy before, they generally will make a batch of products and then list them on Etsy and say, I've got 10 of these. Whereas all of the things on our site are obviously made to order because they have to be made with the buyer's options. And so getting them to understand that has been a bit tricky. Because they're like, why do I have to put a custom option? I mean, like, because this is where we're coming from.
This is what handmade is about. It. I mean, to some extent, it proves that you're handmade, but more importantly, it means that if I show up as a customer, I've always got the sense that I'm getting something specific to me.
Exactly.
It's a question of going, we do different options. You have it in red or blue. It's like, but that's because you've got a million of them in a warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly where we're coming from.
And does it cover everything? I mean, there's the obvious things like clothing and jewellery and so on. But is anything craftable?
Yeah, we've got loads of categories on the site. So art, clothing, jewellery. And then we delve into them. So with art, you've got like illustrations, sculptures, etc. Home furnishings. We've got fireplace surrounds, tables, all this sort of stuff that you can buy.
And your business model is, I pay £10 for a thing, and the maker gets £9.50, and you get 50p or whatever.
Yeah. So we just take 20%. And that's the other thing. Coming back to how we're different from Etsy from a seller's point of view. So on the face of it, Etsy take I think 3.5% plus 20p, and they can afford to do it at that rate because they own their own payment processing system. But it's not really that. Once you factor in that it's 3.5% per sale, but then there's a payment processing fee on top of that, then you've got the listing fees. Our model is you just pay a flat 20% fee if you sell something. There's no listing fees, and within that 20% that covers all the payment processing, and we advertise on behalf of all the users as well. So
if I don't sell anything, I don't pay any money?
Exactly, yeah.
Nice. You couldn't convince eBay to do that?
Right, yeah, exactly. And the advertising's a big factor. You said, how do we get the buyers side of it, and that's a lot of what we do is Google Shopping ads. We've got a big system set up to manage that and bid on various things to get our products positioned at the top there. That's working quite well at the minute. Obviously we don't want to rely on advertising in the long term, but at the minute that's how you go and compete with the Etsy's.
That's how you get the word out. Absolutely. I thought it was interesting, Hobzy, the company, do more than just handmade. I mean, obviously what you're concentrating on is handmade.me.
Yeah.
But looking through the Hobzy website itself, you've got a bunch of other potential bubbling under products. The one I thought was really interesting was the kind of shared ad network.
Yes. So just to give you a bit of background, so myself and Alex, co-founder, we're both product guys, we're techies. We, as you probably know, we just like building things. That's our approach. Hobzy, when it initially started, was a social platform. So you like knitting, I like knitting. Let's connect around our knitting. And it worked from an onboarding point of view. People really like the concept. People were getting involved with it, but it wasn't making any money, and we struggled to see how. And we tried a theming system, a bit like Tumblr. So we invited developers to come and create themes for people's profile. We spent ages building all this stuff out, and it didn't work. Advertising didn't work. So we kind of thought, we've got Hobzy, we've got this whole API built around users. We can easily spin up some apps that kind of break down some of the things we were offering with Hobzy, essentially like unbundle those things and put them into their own specific products. So the first one we did was called Find and Craft, which you may have seen on the site. So it's essentially I've got an hour to spare, you like knitting, you've got these materials, give me something to do, and we'll go and pull in tutorials from across the web, and it tells you what materials you need, what skill level you need to be able to do it. And we tried to monetize that, so that was a iOS Android app, free version, paid version, standard sort of model. People were paying, but not in any significant volume, so yeah, that didn't really work. And we tried a couple of other things. The thing you're on about is called craft click ads. So that isn't actually fully live at the minute, but we're a bit cheeky with that. So we wanted to test the model first. So our idea was that we were connecting with all these bloggers, and they were running ads on their blog. But they had the problem of they wanted to monetize their blog with adverts, but they wanted to get the word out about their blog to get more readers, also with adverts. And that was the problem we were having as well. So we had this idea of doing a sort of essentially ad exchange that works on a credit-based system. So you come on and you put our widget on your site. Someone else comes on and puts the widget on their site, and they will essentially advertise each other for as long as they have a credit, and you get a credit every time somebody clicks on an ad on your blog. So there's never any money exchanged. And as part of us doing that, we would just inject some of our own adverts essentially into the stream. So they would all be relevant. They would all be handmade adverts or craft based. They would be for things like products on Handmade Me, for example. So the experiment was, would people put the widget on their blog, and how much traffic were we getting from the widget? So at the minute, the widget just essentially advertises the ad network itself. And it's worked. Like it's proven that this will work. It's just a time thing at the minute. We've built all these different things, and we're trying to focus on one at the minute, and that one is Handmade Me. But it's definitely something we'll look to kind of visit maybe next year.
Totally. So why are you in Birmingham?
I'm a Brummie, as you can probably tell. So we founded the business in Birmingham straight out of university. We got onto Oxygen Accelerator. So I think you interviewed Simon from there. So they were based in Birmingham at the time. And then we basically, it was just made complete sense to stay here. So this office here, it's quite big. It's cheap for one. There's no business rates, which is great in this area of Birmingham. So if we moved to London, which was a consideration, all of these costs would skyrocket.
Just a bit, I'd say.
Yeah, getting developers, that'd skyrocket. My rent was in terms of the money we had and the investment we've got, it just makes complete sense to be here. So.
Totally. So who else is doing interesting techie things in the city who you think I should go and talk to?
There's quite a few people, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, I really like the Droplet guys. I don't know if you've spoken to them yet. One of my close friends, I think what he's doing is really cool, and it often gets kind of played down. It's called Mike Bandar. I don't know if you've met him.
I don't think so.
So he runs a dating website essentially called Toy Boy Warehouse, and it's a dating website aimed at connecting younger people and older women, which I think people get put off by it because it could be a bit seedy or sleazy or whatever, but it's purely a tech business. It's a dating site, and it's making quite a bit of money. It's successful, but you never really hear of it.
No, I never have.
So those guys are based at Birmingham Science Park. So yeah, I think he's well worth an interview.
That sounds fascinating, actually. I think my days of being a younger guy. I'm not sure anyone would treat me as a top anymore, but that sounds really interesting. Cool. And final question: what's your favourite biscuit?
Ooh, favourite biscuit? I quite like a bourbon.
Bourbon? My dad likes bourbon.
Or custard cream.
Custard cream, classic.
Yeah.
The custard factory, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So and then so Handmade.me is available. It's Android and iOS. It's on the web.
So, yep.
People go to handmade.me.
Handmake.me, yeah, simple as, or just Google handmake me. Yeah, look them up.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dan Rice.
Thanks.